Imagine opening your laptop in the early 2000s, clicking a blue icon, and suddenly hearing the voice of someone thousands of miles away. Clear, real, almost magical. It felt like the future had arrived, and for millions of people, that future had a name. Skype. Back then, long-distance calls were expensive. International communication felt like a luxury, and staying in touch with loved ones across the world often meant carefully counting minutes, or relying on slow emails. But then Skype came in and quietly rewrote the rules. It made the world feel smaller, closer, more connected than ever before. But things did not stay that way. What started as a revolutionary tool would eventually become a story of missed opportunities, corporate decisions, and a slow fade into the background. So what really happened to Skype? How did something so dominant lose its grip on the world? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. Skype was born in 2003, created by a small group of developers led by Nicholas Zenstrom and Janus Friis, the same minds behind Kazaa, a peer-to-peer file sharing platform that had already shaken up the internet once before. This time their goal was different. Instead of sharing files, they wanted people to share voices. The idea was simple but powerful. Use peer-to-peer technology to allow free voice calls over the internet. No expensive telecom charges, no complicated setup. Just download the software and start talking. It felt almost too good to be true, and people loved it. Within just a couple of years, Skype exploded in popularity. It spread like wildfire across Europe and quickly reached the rest of the world. Students, families, businesses, everyone started using it. Suddenly, calling someone in another country was as easy as clicking a button. Think about that for a second. Before Skype, international calls could cost a fortune. After Skype, they were basically free. That kind of disruption does not happen often. By 2005, Skype had over 50 million users, and that number kept climbing. It was not just a product anymore. It was becoming a global communication platform. And then something big happened. That same year, eBay acquired Skype for $2.6 billion. At the time, it seemed like a strange move. An online marketplace buying a communication tool. But eBay believed Skype could connect buyers and sellers in a more personal way. This is where everything started to shift under eBay. Skype continued to grow, but the vision felt a little unclear. Was it a communication tool for everyone, or just a feature for online transactions? The identity started to blur. Still, the numbers were impressive. Skype kept gaining users, adding video calling, improving its interface, and becoming a household name. For many people, Skype was the internet. But behind the scenes, things were not perfect. The integration with eBay never really worked as expected. Buyers and sellers were not exactly eager to jump on voice calls, and Skype's full potential was not being used. By 2009, eBay decided to sell a majority stake in Skype. And just like that, the company was once again looking for direction. And then came another major turning point. In 2011, Microsoft stepped in and bought Skype for a staggering $8.5 billion. It was Microsoft's largest acquisition at the time, and expectations were sky high. People thought this was it, the perfect match. Microsoft had the resources, the ecosystem, the reach. Skype had the brand, the technology, the user base. Together, they could dominate communication for years to come. And for a while, it seemed like they might. Skype was integrated into Windows. It became part of Microsoft's strategy for communication, replacing older tools like Windows Live Messenger. It was pushed into businesses, schools, and personal use alike. Video calling became more common, more reliable, more mainstream. Skype was no longer just a tool. It was a standard. But things did not stay that way. Around the same time, something else was happening quietly in the background. Smartphones were taking over. Apps like WhatsApp, Viber, and later Facebook Messenger began offering free messaging and calling directly from mobile devices. They were fast, simple, and designed for a new generation of users who lived on their phones. Skype, on the other hand, struggled to adapt. Its mobile app was often slow, clunky, and less intuitive compared to its competitors, while others focused on simplicity. Skype felt heavy, almost like it was still designed for desktop users. This is where everything changed. The world was moving toward mobile-first communication, and Skype was not moving fast enough. And then came the moment that could have been Skype's biggest opportunity. The year was 2020. The world was suddenly locked down. People were stuck at home. Businesses, schools, and families all needed a way to stay connected. It was the perfect moment for a communication platform to shine. But what happened next was shocking. Instead of Skype leading the charge, a relatively lesser-known platform called Zoom took over. Almost overnight, Zoom became the go-to app for video calls, meetings, classes, everything. Why did that happen? Zoom was simple. You clicked a link and you were in. No complicated setup, no accounts required for participants. It just worked. Meanwhile, Skype still required accounts, downloads, and sometimes confusing interfaces. Even Microsoft seemed to shift its focus. Instead of doubling down on Skype, it introduced Microsoft Teams, a new platform designed for workplace communication. Teams quickly became Microsoft's priority, especially in business environments, and Skype slowly started fading into the background. It is almost ironic. The company that once defined online communication was now being replaced by its own sibling. So where does that leave Skype today? It still exists. It still works. Millions of people still use it, especially for certain types of international calls and legacy users who have been with it for years. But it is no longer the leader, no longer the default choice, no longer the name that comes to mind first. In many ways, Skype became a victim of its own success. It introduced the world to a new way of communicating, but could not keep up when the world evolved beyond that. And if you think about it, this story is not just about Skype. It is about how quickly technology changes, how even the biggest names can lose relevance if they do not adapt fast enough. It makes you wonder how many other companies today are at the top, but quietly heading toward the same fate, because success in tech is never permanent. What feels like the future today can become the past tomorrow, and Skype is a perfect example of that. From revolutionizing global communication to being overshadowed by faster, simpler, more mobile-friendly competitors, its journey is both inspiring and cautionary. It reminds us that innovation is not a one-time achievement. It is a continuous process. So the next time you open a video call app, whether it is Zoom, Teams, or something else, take a moment to remember the platform that started it all. And ask yourself, could Skype have done things differently? Could it have stayed on top? Or was this fall inevitable in a world that never stops changing? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.